Good afternoon, everyone, or good day, wherever you are at this hour. I am Edwin Concepcion. I am the head of data protection as a service from Straits Interactive. Straight Interactive is a company based in Singapore, and we focus on providing consulting, training, and consulting services for the areas of governance, risk management, compliance, and of course, information security. Thank you for joining us this afternoon and welcome. Right. We just to discuss our quick agenda on what we will cover for the afternoon. We are going to focus on how organizations can utilize information security in building organizational trust. For the next hour, we will provide some key points on how we can understand information security better, not only by the information security professionals and practitioners, but more so in ensuring that our business process owners or business domain experts can also have a good appreciation of what information security is all about and its necessity to building organizational trust. Every stakeholder in the organization needs collaboration at this juncture where we are a lot of us are adopting digital transformation. So we must together work together to build trust, founded on a secure way of processing information that can enable organizations to create true value from all the information assets and data that we process. After the pandemic, a lot of organizations have actually embarked on their digital transformation journeys. This is with the realization that a new way of working has actually dawned upon us, as well as a new way of engaging with our customers, consumers, and other stakeholders. It has actually become an imperative that our organizations adapt to this changing environment. Likewise, the emergence of new technology such as AI and specifically Gen AI has become pivotal for all organizations to embrace new technologies. And we have to make use of all these benefits, but at the same time ensure that guardrails are actually put in place to protect and secure the processing of information with the various technology systems that we operate within the organizations. So this is a very quick agenda as we have an hour to discuss, right? First and foremost, we also have to understand how information security has actually evolved over the years. Before the advent of computers, of course, information security was primarily about protecting physical documents. Techniques included lock filing cabinets, safes, and guards, which is, of course, still present in our modern organizations today. In ancient civilizations, such as, of course, in Egypt and Greece, they also use some form of cryptography to protect sensitive sensitive information. The Caesar cipher is a well-known historical example. Of course, somewhere in the 1960s, up to the 1970s, with the birth and rise of mainframe computers, it brought upon us a critical necessity to secure these large systems, centralized large systems. Though physical access control was still the primary security measure. With the ARPANET, which is the predecessor of our internet, or the World Wide Web, that was developed also in the 1960s, the use of it has expanded, and the necessity or the need for securing data transmission over networks actually emerged. In the 1980s, the proliferation of personal computers increased the need for information security. Issues such as viruses and unauthorized access began to surface. The appearance of first computer viruses, such as the ELK cloner, highlighted the need for antivirus software and, of course, putting in additional security measures. More so, the public availability and adoption of the internet in the 1990s brought about significant changes in the way individuals and of course organizations interact. The need to secure data on the web, conducting e-commerce transactions, and of course personal information became paramount. The introduction of the SSL, or the Secure Socket Layer Protocol, was developed to encrypt data that is being transmitted over the internet, providing a foundation for secure online transactions. In our current 21st century, of course, in the 2000s, we saw the rise of advanced penetration threats, persistent threats, which are prolonged and targeted cyber attacks by well-funded and skilled adversaries. Often state-sponsored. The adoption of cloud computing and the Internet of Things, they introduced new security challenges, which also included data privacy and, of course, securing interconnected devices. Some standards has actually been made available, such as the ISO 27001, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, and of course regulations such as the GDPR or the CCPA, provided comprehensive guidelines for managing and securing informations within organizations. Artificial intelligence and of course machine learning technologies are increasingly used to predict and mitigate cyber threats by analyzing vast amounts of data and identifying patterns indicative of malicious activities. The history and evolution of information security actually is reflective of the dynamic nature of technology and the increasing complexity of information processing, including, of course, all the risks that comes in the processing of information. From protecting physical documents to defending against sophisticated cyber attacks, information security has continuously adapted to new technologies, and today it encompasses a broad range of strategies, including, of course, adoption of technologies to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information in our digital world. In the current state of our information security, the rise of remote work due to COVID-19, the pandemic, has expanded the attack surface with more devices accessing corporate networks from potentially insecure locations, including, of course, our homes. Ensuring the security of remote endpoints, such as laptops, including our mobile phones and other mobile devices, is now crucial to protect sensitive information being processed by organizations. Data protection laws were passed in multiple jurisdictions, such as in Europe with the General Data Protection Regulation, in California, US, the California Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA, including some other industry regulations such as the Health Insurance Portability Act, or HIPAA, that imposes strict data protection requirements. Industry standards were created and of course updated, including of course the PCI DSS, which are critical for maintaining security and trust in our digital transactions. There is also increasing cyber threats and attacks that are becoming more frequent and sophisticated, targeting organizations of all sizes and sectors. Information security threats come from various sources, including malware, ransomware, phishing, and advanced persistent threats. Technological advancements such as the shift to cloud services that provide scalability and flexibility, but also introduce new security challenges for all of us practitioners in the information security sector. As data breaches, including of course misconfigurations of our information systems, have become prevalent. The proliferation of the Internet of Things, or IoT devices, has also increased again the attack surfaces where malicious actors are trying to exploit, making it essential again to secure interconnected devices and networks. New technologies such as AI enhanced security capabilities, through improved depth, improved threat detection, and response. At the same time, also poses risk, if exploited by malicious actors. There are also other emerging threats, with undertaking digital transformation journeys within organizations. Cyber criminals are offering ransomware kits, to less skilled attackers, increasing the prevalence of ransomware attacks. Attackers not only encrypt data, but also threaten to leak sensitive information if ransom is actually not paid. Cyber attackers exploit vulnerabilities also in third-party vendors, within the supply chain to gain access to targeted organizations. High-profile attacks like the SolarWinds, have highlighted the risks, associated within our supply chain security. Attackers use sophisticated phishing techniques, and social engineering to also trick individuals into divulging sensitive information or even installing malware. Advances in AI enable the creation of deepfakes, realistic fake videos and audio recordings, which can be used for fraud and manipulation. As we have heard in the news, deepfakes is now being used by malicious actors to trick individuals, as what happened in Hong Kong, organizing even a Zoom meeting, to be able to extract financial gain from those attacks. Zero-day vulnerabilities, which are unknown to software vendors, can also be exploited before a patch is actually released. The discovery and exploitation of zero-day vulnerabilities are even on the rise, posing significant risks to organizations. Nation states are increasingly engaging in cyber espionage and sabotage as well, targeting critical infrastructures, and sensitive information of other countries and governments. APTs are characterized, by their stealthy and persistent nature, often, of course, going undetected for extended periods. While still in its infancy, quantum computing has the potential to break current encryption methods, necessitating the development of quantum resistant algorithms. In our practice, or in our organizations, as we can see from the current landscape, that is now very digitally induced, our organization's operations come with various risks, to information security, cybersecurity, and of course, privacy. It is important, for all of us to align our organizational strategic objectives, with compliance requirements, together with the risks coming from our organizational processes. There are also increasing socio-cultural environment expectations that we now must address as information security professionals. The key expectations from both internal and external stakeholders, including partners and regulators, is that information entrusted to us are processed securely and always protected. With advanced technologies, these expectations also increases. Accountability is now a minimum expectation, by our customers, other companies that we engage with, and we must take a comprehensive and proactive measure to protect data. Companies must as well be transparent about our processing activities, complying with relevant regulations and standards, being able to respond promptly whenever a security incident occurs, and continuously improve our overall security posture. Stakeholders are holding companies accountable to all of these expectations that has societal impact to ensure that data and information remain secure. And of course, trust is built where the actual product and services are actually well placed. Information security no? Of course, bottom line is actually a set of strategies for managing the various components, no, in our operations as an organization, no, which provides the necessity to protect information assets, no, against various vulnerabilities and of course threats. It is actually about implementing, no, a comprehensive and of course also a systematic approach to managing sensitive, including confidential information in the companies. It must also involve our understanding and of course addressing information security risks, where we have to apply a robust set of security controls and ensuring the continuous improvement through regular monitoring and of course evaluation. Implementing information security, no, and compliance with regulatory requirements and other industry standards allow the organization to build trust, no, with various stakeholders, whether they are the regulators, no, our business partners, no, our data processors, and of course, our customers. In a nutshell, the main objective of information security is ensuring that we provide the CIA triad to the information we are processing. No? It is all about the confidentiality, integrity, and of course, availability of information, as you might all be well aware of. No? Ensuring that information is accessible, no, only to those who have actually the authority to access them, and of course, at the same time, preventing unauthorized access. Integrity is ensuring that we maintain, no, not only the accuracy but also the completeness of information, so that when there is a need to access it, no, and to use it by authorized entity, it can provide the correct information. So CIA is the cornerstone of ensuring that we provide the proper information security to all our information processing, our information systems, and the overall organization. Here's a case in point. What happened here? No, I'm sure you are all familiar with the organization called H&M. H&M, as a practice, collected personal data of their employees, no, which included illnesses, no, their medical symptoms, medical diagnoses, no, as well as family issues, no, religious beliefs, even their vacation experiences. H&M, no, acquired a broad knowledge of their employees' private lives, no, detailed profiles, no, that were used for measures and decisions about their employment. It was actually stored on a network drive, no, and disclosed to more than 50 managers. Of course, as we can expect, no, since there is excessive processing and collection of personal information, it was a matter of time where they experienced, no, a glitch in their system, and the system became accessible, no, to all the employees of H&M. So there were a lack of access controls put in place, and of course, no, the excessive processing of employee information. In this case, the company, and after the investigation by the regulator, no, decided to fine H&M 35.3 million euros and asked them to also compensate, no, employees for the excessive collection of personal data. Another case in Singapore, no, where Bad Cosmetics exposed, no, 2,300 customers' personal data that became accessible on the internet through a URL link in Google search. No? The results, no, were viewable when one conducts a vanity search. Personal data were exposed, no, including the name, date of birth, no, contact number, and email addresses, including the residential address of the customers. No? The cloud host data center was actually located in the US. In the investigation of the Singapore Personal Data Protection Commission, no, it was determined that the processing, no, being done by the third-party provider was actually unsecured. Here, the regulator in Singapore decided to fine Yeah, Bad Cosmetics, 11,000 Sing dollar. In another case, also in Singapore, Genki Sushi, no, which was the company affected, failed to configure their server's firewall to filter out unauthorized traffic and, of course, close unused ports. No? There was also no conduct of periodic penetration testings, including, of course, vulnerability assessments. No? Bottom line, they also failed not to implement security patches. So what happened is that there was a breach of the information integrity, no, of Genki Sushi's customer information. Here, the regulator also decided to fine the organization for 16,000 Sing dollars. As we know, in our organization, as we process data and other information, there are various potential risk scenarios, no, in our business processes, in our organizational practices, and of course, no, as we engage with our various stakeholders. Some may be unintentional due to carelessness or negligence, the lack of awareness sometimes, and indifference, no, to security measures also contributes to the various scenarios. No, there can be different examples such as a malicious insider gaining access to the company trade secrets, a disgruntled employee, no, that can modify an automated equipment control system, no, or an insider, no, that accesses pre-release financial data, or a primary website, no, that has been defaced by a hacktivist, no, or even an internet-facing web application that is attacked, allowing, of course, customer personally identifiable information to be accessed without authority. Yeah. As organizations, the various elements, no, must be put in place to govern and, of course, manage all our information processing, to build trust in our information processing practices. So why do security incidents happen? Yeah. There can be possibly, no, some three major scenarios, no, where security incidents happen. First, no, when we fail to identify what are the risks and, of course, the expectations, no, of our customers. Yeah? We have not done a proper risk identification, no, risk analysis, no, and assessment, and, of course, evaluation. No? Or sometimes organizations are not even aware that there are actually risks in processing information. The second scenario can be an organization was able to identify the risks, but actually failed to implement the appropriate controls necessary to minimize that risk and, of course, reduce the probability of that risk from manifesting. Yeah? Most of the time, due to workload, or the lack of technology, or sometimes even the lack of time, a lot of us, or a lot of organizations, fail to implement the necessary controls to mitigate that risk. And of course, there are also situations that we have identified the risk, implemented the necessary controls, but still the risk happens. Yeah? That is why the necessity for us to continuously monitor, and evaluate our security postures, must come into play. Because of the advancement in technology and, of course, changes in our organizational practices, there can be a situation that risk will still happen. Yeah? And we must be all aware of these major phases where security incidents and risk manifest within the organization. Yeah. Of course, after we have learned, to improve our information security postures, managing and governing our information security components in the organization, we must understand also and get a more holistic approach to information security. Yeah, as we all know, the key components in ensuring that we manage information security are the people, our processes, and of course, technology. Right? No? It is integral for our people to foster a security-aware culture, ensure the adherence to policies, and of course, mitigating human-related risks through continuous education, training, and of course, assigning of accountability. Yeah, we must educate our employees on all our security policies, the best practices that we can adopt to minimize human errors, and of course, insider threats. We also have to ensure that the individuals understand what is their role, and of course, information security obligations in protecting processing of information. So we must continuously foster a culture of security awareness and proactive organization all throughout the proactive behavior all throughout the organization. Of course, the processes provide us a framework for consistent security practices, including risk management. Yeah, and we must establish consistent security protocols to protect information and data, and as well as being able to respond to incidents. A risk management must be put in place to identify and continuously assess risks so that we can mitigate them and address them, and develop and maintain procedures for being ready to detect, respond, and of course recover from various security incidents. Technology has become essential part of our organizational practices and business processes. So implementing technology allows us to also put in place protective measures, in detecting and responding to threats, controlling access, and automating security processes. We need to deploy firewalls, encryption, including of course your anti-malware and other technologies. We must also implement a robust access control mechanism, and of course authentication and authorization through the use of technologies. We have to leverage the technology for routine security tasks, and of course incident response to improve our overall organization's efficiency and effectiveness to address the various risks. Together, understanding our people, process, and technology create a holistic and a more effective information security strategy that can address various aspects of the sources of security and being able to prevent them and minimize their impact to the organization. So why information security matters? In our digital environment today, trust has become a buzzword. Everybody, every organization are all talking about trust. But how do we actually build trust? So organizations must also provide their trust taxonomy and define what organizational trust actually means to them. In different organizations, organizational trust may mean different things. So the definition can also impact can also be impacted by the organizational culture, the principles by which we operate, and of course the strategic objectives of the organization. As an organization, so we need to articulate what does trust means to us, to the organization, to our internal stakeholders, and of course our external customers. And the expectations of our customers may also vary depending on our organization's definition of trust. There are of course common definitions available in leading dictionaries, but as an organization we must also provide how do we actually use information security to build our stakeholders trust. In our operations as of today, where we are actually operating not in silos but in an entire digital ecosystem. Trust is not built upon by publishing or just producing a security policy or even making available a privacy notice. Trust is actually developed over time, yeah, with the various relationships that we create with our stakeholders, yeah, and how we manage these relationships that can create and produce mutually beneficial partnerships. Company reputation rests upon the confidence of stakeholders within these relationships, especially in our digital ecosystems. And when the relationship is actually strengthened, it is where we can enhance customer loyalty and start to build trust in our information processing practices, where the confidence of our various stakeholders increases. The importance of information security as a trust builder is ensuring that our organization protects sensitive data, including, of course, confidential data, ensuring that we safeguard not only personal data, company trade secrets, the financial data of the company, but other confidential information from unauthorized access and, of course, data breaches. We also have to be able to demonstrate that we meet legal, regulatory, and industry standards for data protection, yeah, and privacy. Maintaining trust and building this trust with customers, partners, and stakeholders must be demonstrated from leadership commitments to information security. Yeah, we have to be able to reduce the financial losses associated with data breaches, yeah, cyber attacks, and of course other security incidents. Yeah. We must also ensure that we minimize the disruptions to business operations by protecting all our critical information assets and infrastructure, ensuring the highest availability at any given time. Yeah. Information security is a very critical aspect of our modern day business, yeah, and of course our personal lives. We have to aim to protect information from a wide range of threats, yeah, ensuring that we adhere to principles of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Organizations need to safeguard data that are entrusted to them, yeah, comply with regulatory requirements, and of course maintaining the confidence of of various stakeholders. Effective information security involves a combination of policies, yeah, the utilization of technologies, and of course human factors working together to mitigate risks and protect valuable information of the organization. So in our current organizational digital landscape, implementing information security is consists of four key aspects: risk assessment and management. We must be able to identify and evaluate risks and develop risk mitigation strategies to ensure the preservation of information confidentiality, integrity, and availability. As an organization, we must also develop or adapt a security framework where guidelines can be provided as a structure on how, as an organization, we would address information security risks. Institutionalizing and committing information security practices must be incorporated into the structured and formalized system of the organization. We must also keep pace with technology and adopt technological solutions that can automate, key aspects of security operations, no, as the attacks, no, and threats are also becoming more sophisticated. Technology solutions provide, no, provide us as advanced mechanisms, no, to detect, prevent, and of course respond to various information security threats, no, such as malware, no, ransomware, and even phishing attacks. Being able to automate repetitive security tasks, no, improves efficiency and allow security teams to focus, no, on more complex issues and incidents happening in the organization. No. Technology solutions also facilitate, no, real-time detection, no, and of course being able to respond to these incidents that will help us minimize damage, no, and improve recovery time. Being ready and able to respond to incidents when they happen, no, allow us to have a quick and efficient, no, incident response that can contain and mitigate the impact of security incidents. Yeah. We must put in place a swift and effective response to security incidents to maintain customer and stakeholder trust. Yeah. Collaboration, no, within the organization from various business process owners and domain experts, no, can improve organizational resilience. Yeah. And demonstrating a robust incident response mechanism put in place, no, allow us the capability to provide assurance, no, to customers and stakeholders that our own organization can effectively handle security incidents, thus building trust from our information processing practices, providing confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. Yeah. There are, of course, no, standards that are available that can help us, no, to implement a robust information security management program or an information security management system. The ISO IEC 27001, no, of 2022 is an international standard, that provides the requirements for organizations to establish, implement, operate, and of course maintain an information security program. It consists of 93 controls, no, and they are categorized into 4 major teams, no, from organizational, covering our approach to information security policies, no, procedures, and of course the assignment of responsibilities, no, the people, our employees' interaction, no, on how we use information, and of course the information systems, the physical environment where we operate as an organization, and of course technological controls that allow us to operate information systems and infrastructure more securely. Yeah. There are key advantages, no, in adopting the ISO IEC 27001. No? It helps our organization, no, first and foremost, to improve our information security. Why? Because there is now a single source of reference on how we are going to establish, implement, operate, and maintain, no, our information security management system. By adopting the ISO IEC 27001, it also helps us, no, to demonstrate good governance by being accountable, no, in defining the different roles and responsibilities as we collaborate in the organization to ensure, no, information security. Adopting the standards also allow us, no, to conform, no, and provide assurances that our organization's practices are actually within the bounds of regulatory and other compliance requirements. Yeah. Being, no, or adopting ISO 27001 allow us also to be certified, no, for our management system that can be used, no, as a competitive advantage, no, for marketing and building our company brand and reputation, and therefore again increasing trust of our stakeholders with the organization. Yeah. With improved information security, through the ISO IEC 27001 we can also increase our revenue through building customer loyalty, and of course at the same time being able to reduce unwanted information security risk related costs that can be avoided by the organization. The PECB also actually provides an ISMS implementation framework consists of 4 major phases. The PECB ISMS implementation framework actually lays out a very systematic, standardized, and practical implementation approach to establishing ISMS. The 4 phases supply a very coherent and consistent performance in operating ISMS. With this framework, individuals and organizations can actually adapt a more methodological approach and implementation of an ISMS. Building trust through information security with a multifaceted approach puts forward the required combination of strong technical measures, comprehensive policies, and continuous monitoring in building a culture of a security-aware and responsible organization. By adopting the PECB ISMS implementation framework, the organization can truly demonstrate its commitment to protecting sensitive information, thereby being able to build trust and maintain trust with various stakeholders. As we now know, trust is very critical for safeguarding data, also for sustaining long-term business relationships and building our reputation in the marketplace. The PECB ISMS implementation framework also adheres to the PDCA life cycle. The PECB framework also addresses this life cycle. A plan, do, check, act, adopting a systematic iterative approach used in information security management. Again, it ensures continuous improvement of security processes and of course the controls that we put in place, where the core component of many security frameworks, including of course the ISO 27001. So this provides us a structured approach to manage and improve information security. Continuously planning, implementing, monitoring, and refining security measures. The iterative process ensures that security practices evolve in response to emerging threats, advancement in technologies, changing business needs, and of course, ensuring that we have the organization's resilience in our overall security posture. The benefits of implementing an ISMS allows our organization to preserve the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. Allows us to reduce the risk and minimize the exposure of the organization, compliance to legal and regulatory requirements, including contractual obligations, and of course, being able to create value from the meaningful information we are all processing. As you might be very well aware of, as we adopt AI and machine learning, it is all about the data that we use, the information that we feed to these machines that can greatly benefit in improving our efficiency to operate as an organization. Right? So, just to summarize what we have been talking about for the last 45 minutes, information security management system is actually consists of different phases and building blocks that we have to establish within the organization. Of course, it always has to start to ensure that there is commitment from the top, our management, the leadership. We are able to implement policies that is provided as part of the directions of the top management, ensuring that we have a collaborative team not only of information security specialists, no, but domain experts, business process owners that can provide, no, and contribute, no, to our information security practices. And we must all take this, no, with a risk management approach, ensuring that we are able to identify, assess, and treat those risks. No? And in treating those risks, no, based on the ISO 27001, we have to put in organizational controls, yeah, the policies and the procedures, yeah, ensuring that our people are security aware. No, we can build a culture of security and compliance within the organization, implementing the basic necessary physical controls, and of course, no, technical or technological controls, no, to help us, no, in automating a lot of our information security practices. Yeah, and we must all operate, no, continue to operate our security, yeah, through continual improvement, addressing both, no, internal stakeholders and of course external stakeholders expectations, no, wherein the foundation of all these building blocks, no, is building trust, yeah, with our digital within our digital ecosystem, yeah, from both our internal stakeholders and of course, no, the external stakeholders as well. Okay. With that, no, I would like to thank you for joining us this afternoon, and we are now open for some question and answer session. All right. Do we have any questions? All right. Yeah, let me go to our chat box. So if I can see if we have questions. All right. Yeah. So there is a first question. No? Can we rely on third-party vendors, no, such as cloud services and security solutions, no, when it comes to handling information and ensuring its integrity? Oh, this is a very interesting question. As we all know, all of our organization, most of our organizations, if not all, no, operate within, no, a digital ecosystem supply chain of some sort. Yes, we deal with a lot of third-party vendors, yeah, especially when we make that business decision to put our information in the cloud. Right. What we need to do as an organization, no, is to ensure, yeah, that we put, no, the contractual arrangements, no, our agreement in place, yeah, that defines, no, our expectation as an organization, no, for the protection, no, of information that we put in our cloud services, no, or in our cloud service providers. Yeah. Most of the time, of course, there would be what we refer to as service level agreement or data processing agreements. Yeah. In most regulations, no, and in standards, they are not very prescriptive, no, in what we need to provide in those data processing agreements, no, or service level agreements. Yeah. Most of the time, what we see is the requirement for reasonable and appropriate security. So as an organization, you now have to define what is reasonable and appropriate security for your requirements, no, insofar as the processing of your information with third-party vendors. Yeah? You need to enumerate them, list them, no, what would be the minimum, yeah, whether there's a need for encryption, no, whether there's a need for ensuring that there's a security in the transmission, yeah, of information. So all of this, no, we should be part of your due diligence, no, in engaging with third parties, defining, yeah, and enumerating your information security requirement. Yeah, as much as possible, if you can avoid, no, an all-encompassing phrases or statements such as reasonable and appropriate security. You have to define what is reasonable and what is appropriate for your own requirement. Okay, I hope that helps. There's another question. In an organization, no, or association, how can you convince an inactive member to attend, no, a once a month monthly meeting? Probably, no, again, you can provide some short examples. Yes, we have so many examples already, no, that are in the news, from the web, no, or from the individuals that we already know. Yeah, even in our own organizations, no, even in Straits Interactive, we have a practice of actually information security awareness and training every 3 months. And yet sometimes, of course, there are individuals who are not really interested. So we have to provide them some actual examples, and there are plenty. There are many examples already in the news, in the newspapers, no, on Facebook. Yeah, and I actually, for my own self, no, I use a lot of them, no, where they're actually individuals, no, from the news, and even personal friends, no, who has been affected, no, with the risk to information security. Right, so use actual examples, no, within your community, yeah, that you can actually get from the news. And of course, no, in the organization, it is also important that you put in place a code of conduct. Yes, I'm sure all of you must have an employee code of conduct, right? As part of the employee code of conduct, we must also now define, no, information security obligations of our employees. Yes, right. I know because of the in some organizations, no, their employee code of conduct was created before all these compliance, information security, data protection requirements came about, right? And they came up with some addendum. So we, as I've stated earlier, no, we must institutionalize and incorporate information security practices and obligations, no, within the organization, and that includes, of course, no, your employee code of conduct. So with this, no, they have to be very aware, no, of their information security obligations, no, and hopefully, yeah, motivate them to attend those monthly meetings. All right. Next question. Are there new standards, no, or standards being updated to cover the threats from AI? Yes, no. It was just very recent that the NIST, the US NIST, National um, Science and Technology, no, National Institute of Science and Technology, has published, no, the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. Yeah. The NIST cybersecurity framework is widely adopted, no, in a lot of countries, and I think, no, that the NIST AI risk management framework will have the same effect, right? Aside from that, there's also now the EU AI Act, right? That has come into force, no, just a few weeks ago. Yeah, although the enforcement of the EU AI Act, no, is scheduled, no, over a period of time, no, 6 months and 1 year. Yeah, but there are some provisions that have actually come into force already. So you can also refer that, no, the EU AI Act, and of course the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. Yeah. Under the EU AI Act, no, it's actually very easy to understand because what they have done is to define, no, or categorize AI systems, no, to prohibited systems, no, high risk systems, medium and low risk systems. Yes, so they have provided minimum guidelines, no, for high risk systems, and of course low risk systems. Yeah, so you can utilize the EU AI Act as well, right? What are recommended strategies in order to have a harmonized implementation of ISO 27001 and 42001 AI management system, especially now that AI changes rapidly? Yeah? of course, no, actually, when you attend the PECB training, there is what we refer to as an PECB integrated management system, no, that provides you a framework on how to align the different requirements, no, of different standards, including, of course, the ISO 27001 and the 42001. Yeah, so you might be interested to explore that, no. The key thing is actually aligning, no, the requirements of both standards, so you would understand, no, what would be the additional, no, requirement that you have to actually put in place. Yeah, definitely there's a lot of overlaps, no, in both standards insofar as the requirements, but there are also intricacies, no, that you have to address, right? So what I suggest is that you build, no, and align, yeah, your ISO 27001 and 42000 requirements. Yeah, and you can check the PECB integrated management system framework, right? Next, what are some engagement you can suggest, no, for information security awareness? In one organization, what I have actually seen, no, is they create reels. Yes, they no longer create videos. They actually create reels, no, 15 seconds, 30 seconds reels. Yeah, which of course, no, the age of our workforce, no, the millennials, the Gen Z's attention span, no, is of course not the same, no, as for some of us who are more, no, senior, in terms of age. So I've seen a lot of organizations actually to create reels, no, and they use also, no, existing technologies such as TikTok, yes, and Instagram, no. There's this one organization that we engage with, no, they have multiple, no, TikTok videos, no, or short 15 seconds, no, short reels that they utilize, no, to increase awareness, information security awareness in the organization. Yeah, long memos, email reminders, no, may no longer work, for our millennials and Gen Zs. Yeah, so use some short reels, no, such that like TikTok as well. Okay, right. So you mentioned earlier about automation under the technical component. So what tools would you suggest, no, for automating the task of security personnel for incident response? No, definitely, no. There are now, for example, no, the vulnerability assessments. Yeah, of course, in the past we used to do it manually. Now there are software-based, no, vulnerability assessments that you can use. There are also intrusion prevention systems. Yes, intrusion detection systems. No, and of course, no, the monitoring, especially of logs, yeah, has become more automated now. There are a lot of uh, products, no, and software that are actually now available in the market. So you may want to check them. Right. Next, if an organization failed to secure, no, this ISMS ISO certification, no, given the day-to-day information we process from our members stored in our database, how this become disadvantage in its goal of establishing a reliable and integrated information system. Yeah. Of course, no, adopting the ISO standard in implementing an information security management system provides you, no, a more structured, systematic, methodological way of implementing information security. But it is not always necessary. Yes, there are some organizations, no, that adopting the ISO standard may not be, no, aligned with your strategic objectives as an organization. What you also have to think of and factor in is there also associated costs in implementing an information security management system based on the ISO standard. Yeah, so you have to, the first thing that you have to do, no, as based on the ISO standard, is to actually evaluate first, no, the context of your organization, the context of the information processing that you are doing. Yeah, you have to establish, no, and align the strategic objectives to the information security objectives of the organization. Yeah, you must also be able to conduct, no, an analysis, no, of your business environment. Yes, either through the use of a SWOT analysis, no, identifying your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, no, through the or using a PESTEL, no, doing your assessing your political, environmental, social, no, technical, yeah, and legal ecosystem. No? And there are other tools, no, that you can also use. That's the very first thing, yeah, that you have to actually do is identify, no, or define the context of your own organization, whether there really, no, these compliance requirements necessary for you to fulfill, no, your existing information security posture. Yeah, I have seen some organizations, no, immediately venturing into digital transformation, no, when well in fact you can observe that they have not even digitized, no, a lot of their forms, yes, or digitalize their processes. Yeah, of course it is a step by step, no, phase by phase, yeah, process, and you must be very strategic, yeah, and you must implement an ISMS purposefully. Yes, it takes a lot of commitment. All right. Okay. So it's now 5 o'clock. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Yeah. I hope you would enjoy the rest of your week. No, and I hope you were able to learn something new with our session for today. Yes. Okay. So with that, no, I hope you also visit the PECB website, no, and take advantage of the one-time offer, no, to take part in our upcoming pre-conference, no, and training courses. Yeah, the contact conferences. Please contact conferences@pecb.com for your code now. Okay. So with that, again, thank you very much. No, and since I am based in Manila, Philippines, so I would like to extend, no, my appreciation to all of you from listening, and mabuhay.